Then he says, I like to spar with you. I got this new style, Jeet. I say, what? Let's go around the side and spar a little bit, which we did. We went around there and sparred.
Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of my interview with Grandmaster Vic Moore. Make sure to check out part 1 linked in the description below. But in this one, Bruce Lee comes up. And I'm sure you heard that story, the controversy surrounding Vic Moore and Bruce Lee at the 1967 Long Beach Karate Tournament. Anyway, he talks about that, but not only that, apparently there's more to the story where the two men actually sparred and Bruce Lee was trying out the Jeet Kune against Grandmaster Vic Moore. So you guys got to see what happened there, right? And then Grandmaster Vic Moore will tell you what he thinks on how Bruce Lee would have fared against all those fighters back in the day. So anyway, if you like this kind of content, please help support the channel. Hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, and comment below. You know you got to comment on this video.
Well, in 65, there was big Mike Foster, 270 some odd pounds, 6'5", you know. He was a giant, a master. I hope he's still around. Hello, Mike Foster, if you're still there. And he would grab guys, pick them up, hit them, and throw them down. I mean, he'd get down on the low, keep it out there. He had the strength just to grab a guy, pick him up off, and hit him, boom. Well, I was pretty good. I would go up into a catch stance, come up with a good cover, you know, and you can't get in, you couldn't break that cover. But he'd throw a kick, and he kicked my arm so hard, it knocked me out of the ring and into the bleachers. We didn't have rings at that point, you know. Man, I shook it off. I said, oh. I went back in there, and I had to whoop. I put a whooping on him, jumped up on his leg, grabbed his gi, swing around to the back, chop his neck, drop down, go between his legs, throw a drop kick on him. I would spar, jump up 6 feet in the air and throw a flying side kick, turn him up. Master Robert A. Trias, and as I would swear to this, he said, you're the best karate fighter I ever seen. He said, not only that, later in the year, he said that I was the best teacher that he ever had seen.
Wow.
That's what I
Grandmaster Moore, I got to
kind
ask.
of ride on.
I got to ask. So you beat that guy. He was like 270. How much did you weigh?
165, 170.
So
I
let
was
me ask you
small, right?
this. So basically, that guy outweighed you by 100 pounds and you beat him, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I want to ask you something.
That was.
That's amazing, but I want to ask you something because do you know who Michael Jai White is?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, pretty big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty big guy, martial artist, actor. He basically, his argument is that he could beat up Bruce Lee simply because he outweighs Bruce Lee by 100 pounds. That's like his argument. That alone is why he says he could beat up Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee's 132 pounds. I outweigh him by 100 pounds. Size matters a great deal. It's too big of a discrepancy. You know, he can run across the street, I ain't gonna feel it.
What do you think about that? You beat up a dude who's 100 pounds bigger than you.
I fought with Bruce Lee. The story is he came to the to the internationals, and he challenged any of us national champions, world champions. He said that he had a punch so fast that nobody could block it, could even touch it, going in or coming out. Artie Simmons, Jimmy Jones, and Vic Moore was there with Robert A. Trias. Robert A. Trias told Ed Parker, I got 3 guys here. Either one of them can take him. All of us is in about the same weight division. I was about 180 at that time. And Ed Parker says, you really think so, Bob? That guy, he says he's just that fast, you know, ain't nobody taking him up. Because all the champions were shining him. Oh, who's he? He's a movie star. He ain't nobody. He never won a tournament. He never fought nobody. What's in it for us? A movie role? Ha 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 ha. What's in it for us? Some money? And Master Trias, he turned and looked it up. He said, one of you guys going up there and showing what a show Ray Ruben karate can do. Jimmy, you go. Now, Vic, you go. Now, Artie, you go. Vic Moore, get up there and show him. Well, I had to run on up there. When you instruct to speak like that, you better get the moving. Bruce Lee, he gets back. He says, oh, I'm going to come in, throw a punch, hit you in the chest. You won't be able to touch it. And I scrunched up and said, you going to do what? He said, yes, I'm going to come in and punch you. I ain't going to hit you hard. I'm just going to tag you and let you know I was there. I said to myself, I said, lightning is fast, and I damn near keep up with it, you know. Oh, everybody was laughing, you know. He come in and he throw his punch. I blocked it. Palm heel block. And I see you. Bruce Lee was shocked. He backed up. He says, well, let's try it again. Okay. He gets back, and I know he's coming in super fast. I see his face expression. I know he's coming in. His ear, eyes. I know he's coming on the right side. He come in speedy punch. I blocked it. Bam! Mm-hmm. Man, he backed up. He was shocked. He was stunned. He didn't know what to think. He reached out and tapped me on my right arm. He said, boy, you're fast. You're the fastest American I ever seen. He said, let's try just one more time, you know. So we get back, and the crowd was hooping and hollering and stumping their feet. Steve Sanders Muhammad, he admit that he was the one of them stumping his feet and hollering. And I just glanced off up into the bleachers, you know, and Bruce Lee threw a backhand strike, never coming close. And as you look at the video, you see he's 2.5 feet away. But he's throwing this strike, and the cameraman, whoever he was, we got a good idea who he was. He starts showing it over and over, this one strike over and over. And that's what you see on the internet when you see Bruce Lee versus Vic Moore over and over. But how you know it's the same strike over and over, his left hand comes to his left side and it's crooked back like a baseball player would be trying to catch a ball. And he's up on his left toe. There's no way you can go over and over throwing blows and come back in the exact same position. His head stopped at the same position every time. My finger is pointing. I asked him, I say, why are you striking at the head when you're supposed to be punching at the chest, you know? I said, you're just trying to sneak something in, you know, I done blocked it. So you'll see my finger in the exact same spot. And you took a marker pen and put a dot there, his head, my head. Everything is in the exact same spot over and over. But when he was throwing his punches at me, there was a guy in a white shirt that was walking up the bleachers. That's how you know it's motion in the background. Then when Bruce Lee threw his second punch, the guy in the white shirt that was walking up the bleachers had crossed over to his seat. That's when he threw. Now, with these backhand strikes, there's no more movement. No flash bulbs going off. Nobody crossing their leg. Nobody's making any movement. It was the same blow over and over, 2.5 feet away, but they try to make it look like he's throwing all these punches. Well, yes, I beat Bruce Lee because I threw my punches at him before he walked away. I said, wait a minute, Bruce, let me show you how it's done. I threw my punches at him, boom, he missed. I said, we'll go again. I came back, I threw my punches at him, but this time I hit him a little harder, knocked him back, boom. He blocked that one. Man, everybody was booing him, whooping and hollering. The man had tears in his eyes, swear for God. I said, we'll go one more time. He said, no, you are the faster. That was his word, exact word. I said, well, come on. You threw 3, so I'll throw 3. He said, okay. I felt sorry for him. I just threw a regular speedy punch. He blocked that one, you know. Then afterwards, he says, how you get so fast? Who taught you? I pointed to my instructor, Robert Trias, over there, just like that with my thumb. I said, that's my instructor over there. He said, wow. So I was telling him, I said, how you make me get out in the rain and in the snow and stuff, and to the mirror inside and all that, you know. And
go outside and you hit the raindrops that's coming down, and you see a raindrop, bing!
Take a stick and drop it and be able to throw a punch and hit before the stick can hit the ground. And he said, oh man, you just had Mother Nature working with you, didn't you? I said, well, yeah, you know. So that was it. Then he says, I like to spar with you. I got this new style, Jeet Kune. I say, what? He said, yeah, Jeet Kune, you know, let's go around the side and spar a little bit, which we did. We went around there and sparred. He doing all this jumping and fancy footwork. He couldn't touch me. I was tagging him every right. I was sweeping him. I was hitting him. Boom. Wherefore God.
Was there an audience? Were there anybody
that
that's seen that?
There was a few people there. There was had to be 3 or 4 cameramans that was there, so I know somebody got it. And there was only 2 or 3 other people because he didn't want to do it out in public. He wanted to do it in private. Because when I was throwing my punches at him, he missed. Now, just get back to your question. Mm-hmm. Just because he makes movies does not make him really that fast for real. I'm not the only one that could have beaten Bruce Lee and did, you know, yes. But there's all of the national champions that I have fought that I knew could have beaten Bruce Lee. Steve Cernas, for one, I know. I watched him. I worked with him, you know, in his training. And Bruce Lee told him he was the fastest American he had seen at that time, you know, boom. I could name just about every national champion out there that I fought that could have beat Bruce Lee. People question me, oh, you think Vic Moore beat Bruce Lee? With a little bit of history behind Vic Moore. In 1965, beating Big Mike Foster, I became the first grand national champion in the world. In the United States, that made me the first African-American black in the United States. There was no other black before then, 63, winning any championships. No. In 1966, I defeated the all-Hawaiian champion that came here in a world championship. Master Robert Triss would even pay other people to come from other countries to make sure that we have a group from other countries. Mm-hmm. I defeated him. In 1967, I defeated the all Korean champion at June Ree's national tournament. They had a delegation of 16 people their government had sent over here, and they thought he was going to win. And he's over there doing full splits, putting his foot up over his head and all. Oh, Vic Moore, you see who you're going to have to fight? I said, I don't care. That wall don't punch back. Oh, listen to him, you know. And he went up. He did that normal Korean stuff. They backed up 2 steps. They go up for that flying side kick. I see the 2 steps going back, but I jumped straight up in the air. And I did a side kick inside of his side kick and knocked him out of the ring. They hated my guts, you know. They just, you know, they was gonna attack us. June said, should I call the police? You know, I said, no. My students was there. We carried samurai swords, machetes, scythes, bow sticks. And they didn't try nothing after that tournament. That was in 67. 67 was when me and Bruce Lee did our demonstration, and I beat him. I beat him, square and fair. And then Chuck Norris and we fought. I beat Chuck Norris. He did a spinning back kick, threw that shoulder forward. He get ready to spin. Bam! Steve Armstrong didn't want me to have the points. All the judges' flag was up. They had a meeting. He says, hey, guys, we can't let this beat our champion, you know. Well, come out, Chuck Norris hit me on the arm. That's it. That's the winner. Boom, boom, go. We got ready to leave. Well, Chuck Norris threw his hands up and says, Vic, you know, we didn't have nothing. I didn't have nothing to do with that. We get ready to leave. He said,
Chuck Norris beat you technically, but you're saying you beat him. But they kind of cheated it.
Yes. Chuck Norris took it. Oh, big time. That wasn't the only time either. Chuck Norris took his program. He said, to the guy that beat me fair and square. I told Chuck, you don't have to do that. Chuck Norris' wife at the time, she took her program, did the same thing. She said, to the man that beat my husband, Vic Moore. Everyone in the whole arena knew what was going on. They was booing him and everything else, you know. I hate to be too negative here, but Steve Armstrong from Seattle, Washington, was the most against black folks. Now, when I first started, see, I was used to this stuff. When I first started competing, they would say, come out and says, wait a minute, this boy can't come in here. Master Trias says, if you don't let this boy in, you're not going to have a tournament because he's the defending champion. Mm-hmm. Well, he had to come around to the back. Master Trias says, no, I got 500 competitors out here and I'll take them somewhere else if you don't let this boy come in this door and compete. Other tournaments I used to go to, and they said, Vic Moore, you're not going to win this tournament. I say, how are you going to stop me? We got 3 out of 5 judges. Meaning, we ain't going to call your points because you need 3 judges out of 5 or 2 out of 3, Mm-hmm. And tournament after tournament I would go to, but I would fight so hard they had to give it to me because I was beating everybody there was. See? Now, that was in 67. 68, I defeated Joe Louis to become the first world pro karate champion. Wow. So I'm a professional now. That's when we first started giving a little money away, and I beat Joe Louis at that tournament. My wife also won in the brown belt division, and she was fighting men, and women were really permitted to fight in men division back then. Then in 69 at the team championships in California, I defeated what's his name, the black guy with the afro,
Jim
Kelly.
Man, you come right out of a comic book.
Oh, really?
Jim Kelly at the team championships in 69. That was in 69. I also defeated my idol, Mike Stone.
Oh, wow.
Mike Stone had 91 straight victory, never took a second in place. Hats off. Hey, Mike, how you doing, buddy? Mike Stone, my idol, and I beat him. And we had been going back and forth, back and forth. I'm a drop kicker. Mike Stone's a drop kicker. Jim Harris was a drop kicker.
What do you mean
Brett
drop
Reen
kicker?
was a drop kicker. Oh, you drop down and you kick up, not, jumping up like these wrestlers do and kick, but kicking the guy, dropping down. We were able to kick to the groin and the gut, boom, from the floor, dropping up and boom. Well, us four, we was the top drop kickers, and Mike Stone and I, we're fighting, and I said, I gotta take him out. I dropped down, did a drop kick. He blocked it, boom. He looked down at me and smiled. I looked up, man, he dropped it. We fight a little more. So Mike Stone decided he's going to do his drop kick. He dropped down the drop kick on me, and you don't get away much from a drop kick. And I blocked his. I looked down at him, smiled. He looked at me and smiled. And then we went on. Mike Stone, as he'll tell you to this day, he would hook your leg to sweep you and throw a wrist in and take you out, right between the eyes. The ambulance used to be at the door to take us to the hospital, from time to time. Well, that's how he used to beat the stew out of everybody. He would throw that ridge hand and that sweep, boom. Well, he hooked my leg. I said, oh, Lord, I'm in his trap. His arm was coming. I dropped on his arm. I threw my ridge hand at him and swept him, countered it, thanks to John Osaka, who had taught me how to counter any go and sweep. He went airborne. He went about 2 or 3 feet in the air spinning, and he came down on his shoulder and head and dislocated his shoulder. Ooh. And he was out. And I kind of felt bad that I had to be that rough on him, boom. But we went in the dressing room, and he was, trying to work his shoulder. And he said, I'm going to have to possibly go to the hospital. My shoulder's way out of play. I said, well, are we going to finish? He says, no. I said, well, I can fight with one arm. He said, no, Vic, you were the better. Man, that's a great honor. When Master Trias told me I was the best fighter he's seen and the best teacher. Sticks with me forever. When Mike Stone told me that I was the better, sticks right in my heart. Now, Bruce Lee, he never beat anybody. He never fought anybody. People question me about beating Bruce Lee. Why don't they question me about beating Big Mike of Foster to become the first world grand national champion? Why don't they question me about beating Mike Stone? Mike Stone had 91 straight victories, never took the second or third place. Mike Stone beat everybody. Why don't they question me about him? Joe Louis was a great fighter. Never, no question. 1970, I beat Bill Wallace at the World Championship. Boom. I hit him with a rich hand and then a shoot toe and all. I beat every national champion that was fighting out there that I fought. People want to question Vic Moore beating Bruce Lee. I told you the story about Bruce Lee and all these guys. Any of the national champions could have beat Bruce Lee. Chuck Norris could have beaten Bruce Lee. And there's no question about it. Chuck Norris could have beat the stew out of Bruce Lee in a real fight. Now, a lot of people say, oh, Chuck Norris, Chuck Norris never did full contact. Now, Joe Louis and I, we started full contact karate. A lot of people don't know that. That's back in 1969, back in there on the Merv Griffin national TV show. Most people were scared to fight Joe Louis. They didn't want to fight Joe Louis because he was so tough and so strong. Well, he was stronger than me, bigger than me, but I was so tough and I had beaten him. He would always want to get me to demonstrate, and we demonstrated full contact karate. And we were going at it. And we had agreed, we ain't going to try and kill each other. Okay, Vic, don't try and kill me. Okay, Joe, don't try and kill me. And we was fighting so hard that the producer came out and stopped the session. He said, you guys are going to kill each other, But we were only demonstrating what full contact karate is going to look like. Making way for MMA, really. And we did the first full contact karate tournament out in California. Joe Louis and Greg Burns fought, Vic Moore and Jim Harrison fought, and that's another Steve Armstrong refereeing. Won't even go into that. I'm selling pictures and I can show people refereeing that the Ku Klux Klans on their leg of their knees and stuff. And like I said, I used to go to tournaments. They said, he can't come in here. You're not going to win. Go home. I would be in tournaments sometimes that they would be riding outside, tearing up white people's cars and breaking windows and cutting tires. And I'm in there fighting. And I expect to be winning.
That's crazy. So Grandmaster Moore, you're saying you really won that Jim Harrison fight then, right? Even though technically on record he's... Okay.
See, what it was, it's supposed to be if anybody get knocked down 3 times, they were going to call it. I had knocked Jim down 3 times. They didn't call it. It had said if anybody get cut severely, it's going to be called over. Jim Harrison had 7 cuts all over his face. They had to stop the match several times to patch him up with butterfly stitches. Well, we would fight, and I caught an elbow right in between the eyes when he was swinging, and it floored me. I went down. But with my stupid self, I jumped up too fast. Anybody tell you if you get shook up and you jump up too fast, blood rush to your head and you're going to stagger. And that's what happened. And Steve Armstrong, that's it. That's the fan. I ran up there to him. No, hey, what you talking about? Oh, no, that's it. That's I said, I'm all right. And, no. Steve Armstrong 3 and 4 times did that in my matches, But yes, Chuck Norris would have beaten Bruce Lee. Steve Armstrong would have beaten Bruce Lee. Mike Stone would have beaten Bruce Lee. Chuck Norris definitely would have beaten him. And and how many more? I mean, I
Well, the
fought these guys.
question,
Now,
going
y'all
back,
got
Grandmaster Moore, the question, what about Michael Jai White?
Michael John White, yeah, just to watch him and see some of his moves and stuff. I don't go for all this movie fighting stuff. See, I've been in 7 movies myself. I know you ain't hitting each other for real and all that stuff. But I would have to put my eyes on Michael J because of his build, his strength, his size. But not
Even though
only
you beat
because a
up the
small
Forster
man can
guy who
beat
was a
a
lot
big
bigger than
man.
you.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, dynamite, dynamite. Now, all of these national champions and stuff out there, they would have beaten Bruce Lee. It's no question. Now, I would say you guys have to guess that. Well, I think, well, I put my money on me. I more or less know that when you have fought both people for real and you know the difference, you know, in their speed and their strength, and you know, I have a more assurance of who would beat who.
Mhm.
I don't have to guess as much as you guys do. Y'all don't know if Bruce Lee would have beat him or him or him unless you both have beat, brought, you know, to light both of them. Have you fought both of them? If you ever fought both of them, you really don't know.
Mhm.
Michael J. White, muscular, built. I like for him to play me in my movies that's coming up. You know, hey Michael, how you doing? Come on, play me. He's
I'm sure, I'm
taller, you know.
sure, I'm sure he would love to film a scene if he plays you back in '67 beating Bruce
he would
Lee.
have to
You would
be
be
tough.
sold on that part right away.
It is the truth.